Hi, I'm Tamara Banks, here at the opening of the Regional Transportation District West Rail Line. This is a huge, monumental milestone, not just for RTD, but for all of us living in the Denver metro area. Joining me now is RTD Board Chair Lorraine Anderson. Chair Anderson, talk to us about how important this line is and what it means to the entire region.
This is the very first FasTracks line to be completed, and it will connect to Denver Union Station and the Southeast and T-Rex corridors, and will eventually connect to the whole system called FasTracks.
It must have taken a lot of collaboration to pull this off.
Oh, it did. We had many people throughout the entire region that have worked for well over 20 years to make this particular day happen.
And I'm really excited about all the parking lots that are up and down the line itself.
Oh yes, there's 5,600 parking spaces contained in 6 parking garages. So everyone along the corridor will be tightly connected to the rail line.
Really exciting. It took a lot to get this project done. So what exactly did it take to get this far? And what is RTD doing to make sure that FasTracks stays on track? Well, stay tuned for an inside look at FasTracks moving forward. Hello and welcome to FasTracks Moving Forward. A look at how RTD and its regional partners forge ahead, turning the FasTracks vision into reality, building the largest voter-approved transit expansion program in the country is monumental. And after years of planning, engineering, and construction, residents of the metro area are now able to hop aboard the first FasTracks rail line, the West Rail Line, with more lines to come. Joining me now are RTD General Manager Phil Washington, Lakewood Mayor Bob Murphy, and Metro Denver Economic Development Corporation CEO Tom Clark. Gentlemen, welcome. Thanks for joining us. And we'll be hearing from all of you in a few minutes about the recent opening of the West Rail Line and how the W Line and all of FasTracks is impacting the metro area. But first, let's take a look back at how we got here.
The Regional Transportation District, building a bridge to the future. By a 58% margin, voters overwhelmingly approved the RTD FasTracks plan.
And when some of the counties came through with these large margins of victory, it was surprising how early we really called that election in our favor.
If it wasn't for the unanimity among the local elected officials, among the region in 2004, that we would not have been successful with FasTracks.
It passed, and we ended up approving 119 miles of commuter rail, bus, and light rail service.
Our board members had done such an excellent job of getting the message out.
We had near unanimous support of the Metro mayors. We had the legislature came around, supported us. The governor allowed us to go to the ballot. That was Governor Owens at the time. And most importantly, Governor Hickenlooper stepped way out to take a lead and support FasTracks.
With the vision about to become a reality, little time was lost gearing up for the massive work ahead.
First of all, we didn't recreate the wheel. We worked with the Denver Regional Council of Governments, and what we did was we looked at their 30-year plan, where the growth corridors were, where congestion was going to occur, and we overlaid our rail plan right on the Denver Regional Council of Governments plan. So we weren't recreating the wheel. We were building on previous work. And it went really well because it addressed all areas of the region.
Pretty exciting trying to get something like FasTracks going. It's a multi-year process, and where stations should go, what service should look like, what technologies we will build.
I think it's the most exciting infrastructure project going on in the country right now, and it is so exciting to be part of it. It's so big, it's so diverse, there's so much going on right now. There's so many different procurement methodologies, there's so many concurrent activities going on.
I mean, these staff people are enthusiastic, are energetic, and they all totally buy into the mission. You know, they do, their vocation is their avocation. Better environment, more mobility, better opportunities for people to get to work and school. Everybody's genuinely infused with that sentiment, and that helps create a very dynamic organization.
In addition to the tremendous progress being made in the planning and implementation of FasTracks, the highlight in 2006 came with the grand opening of the Southeast Corridor and symbolized the final completion of the Transportation Expansion Project, a joint partnership between CDOT and RTD.
T-REX gave an enormous amount of credibility to the deep suburbs that you could build a rail line and a highway, that you could do it on time and under budget, that you were building in the most congested part of the region and do it successfully and people could still move. But more importantly, they saw the benefit.
The question of financial viability to complete the FasTracks plan as approved by the voters begin to creep into the conversations.
Our economy is collapsing. Layoffs are taking place. We've had a downturn in the automotive business, the financial market. Well, we had to message that to our constituents and be able to engage them in saying, hey, we will continue to move forward, but we can't do this alone. We need to do this together.
There's a Metro Mayor's task force that is formed specifically with elected officials throughout the region that we get together on a monthly basis and we work through issues directly. We have our elected board joins in with the Metro Mayors. I mean, this is a powerful group when you get these guys together and start working on how to fix some of the issues that we've had and how to move the program forward.
The priorities when I first took over were simple. One was that make sure we had our financial processes in place. Two, pay very close attention to the human capital within the organization. I like to say that we've had a number of game changers, both in the economy, material cost increases, in our ridership, in technology, in project management, in funding. And so I'm a big proponent of changing with those things and not being locked into one particular way of doing things. This is why I think this agency has been so successful, because we have been willing to change and we have been willing to adapt to our environment.
In late summer 2010, RTD broke ground on the $1 billion East Corridor commuter rail line, the largest single rail project in the voter-approved FasTracks program.
What an inspiring moment to know that we were finally going to have a rail system from downtown Denver out to DIA. People are going to be able to come in and say what an experience it is to get on a train right here at the end of the terminal. It takes me right downtown to this historical transportation hub and be able to experience the downtown Denver area and the region, because from Denver Union Station, it's points to everywhere in Colorado.
Denver Union Station is the centerpiece of the RTD's FasTracks Transit Expansion Program and will serve as a multimodal hub for the region. The project will generate thousands of jobs and add more than $3 billion into our state's economy over the next decade.
Denver Union Station is actually going to be so much more than just a train station. It is going to be the gateway to the West. It's going to represent jobs and economic growth, and it's going to provide a catalyst for people to come from all over the world to experience our culture.
In August 2011, RTD received its biggest payoff to date, with the announcement by Secretary of Transportation Ray LaHood on the granting of the $1.03 billion Eagle P3 full funding grant.
This is a day of celebration, that you are now a model for the rest of the country and perhaps for the world about how you really put together a transportation program that serves the people.
We're doing extraordinarily well considering where we've been and what the challenges were 3 to 4 years ago. And we are now the talk of the industry in terms of knowledge sharing and innovation. This is why this region, the Denver metro region, will be the greatest city in the West.
So let's talk with the experts about FasTracks. Again, joining me is Phil Washington, Mayor Bob Murphy, and Tom Clark. Phil, let me talk and start with you. With 47 lines now open, what did it take to get to this point?
Well, we have 47 miles of rail open right now. A tremendous partnering effort gets you to this point. Great regional collaboration, great program and project management, understanding that all of these things have to come together to get a project like this done. When you look at the West Corridor, starting that West Corridor 4 or 5 years ago, the property acquisitions that we had to make, the environmental pieces that we had to do, all of these things come together as one to get a project like this done. The mobility options that's going to be created with just the West Corridor open is just phenomenal.
And 47 miles, that's pretty tremendous.
It is.
And so the cities and the counties, even the state, and even RTD had to suffer with the recession, like all the rest of us. How did RTD start to rethink some of their strategy?
I think our mindset when we got hit with the economic downturn was that of opportunity. I was reading something the other day that talked about the big wave that comes in in the ocean or whatever. A lot of people run from that wave, but it's amazing how people with the surfboard run to that wave. Opportunity. We started thinking about looking at this as an opportunity to engage the private sector even more in how to leverage the limited funds that we had. And so this ability to engage the private sector has really stretched our money where we think we're in a position now to finish most all of FasTracks.
So Mayor Murphy, let me jump over to you. Lakewood has been really involved with the W line. What is your city and what are you most proud of?
You know, I think three things, Tamara: the collaboration, the foresight that we've had literally since day one, the day FasTracks passed, and then the very high level of public involvement that we've had with our residents. You know, the collaboration necessary to build a $700 million infrastructure project through the heart of a historic neighborhood is just extraordinary. RTD, city staff, our residents, contractors, subcontractors, utilities, et cetera. And secondly, the foresight that we had to begin our land use planning. We have 7 stations in the city of Lakewood, so planning for appropriate land use around those stations. And then to get out in front early and work with RTD on widening a couple of these bridges so we can extend the bike path, elevate the bike paths over state highways. To design a signature garage at Lakewood Wadsworth station that will be a public gathering place. And then finally, the level of public involvement. All of our residents have been involved since day one, and that created great buy-in amongst our citizens.
Absolutely. And Tom, let me bring you into the conversation. We've talked a little bit about money already, but what kind of economic impact, the impact on the economic growth of the Denver metro area, will this rail line mean to everyone?
Well, it's already been a game changer, as Phil was talking about, in a number of locations we recently had announced. The U.S. Patent and Trade Office, for example, said that they wanted their people to be able to live, work, and play on transit. They're coming out of Alexandria, Virginia. They're accustomed to the metro in Washington, D.C. We had to have that. If we hadn't, we wouldn't have had the U.S. Patent and Trade Office. And right now, we're 12th in the country in patents per 1,000 people. We expect now, with the proximity to that office, that we'll have all the innovation that's going on in our economy will accelerate because of the ability to get access to patent attorneys and access to the patent analysts at the new facility. So it's broadly spread, 2 options to get to work every day, big thing to major employers. And one of the things that really catapulted us was when Level 3 decided to move their corporate headquarters here and chose a site in Broomfield. They told us that the labor force was cut right in half at I-70. And so you're essentially cutting the labor force in half if cars were the only option. And that was really catalytic to us as an organization to say we have to get this thing and we have to build the whole thing. We just can't do a line at a time.
So it sounds like it really will help people decide to move to Denver or the Denver metro area when they're considering where they want to move their businesses around the country.
That's correct, and also bring young people who like cool places. The millennials are everybody's kind of sacred demographic right now, and everybody's trying to become a cool place. And we've been running place-making economic development, making great places like some of the stuff that's going on the West Line right now, what's going on in downtown. At the same time, diversifying our economy to make it an attractive place. These kids can work anywhere. And so what you want to do is a place that they think is cool. And right now, Denver's the coolest.
And so you're often, Tom, in a position where you can sort of look into the crystal ball. You can, be a visionary and sort of take a step back. Talk a little bit about how important it is to collaborate on a project that has this vast magnitude of cities, counties, 47 miles, the construction, all of that, how does that kind of herding cats is what I liken it to?
Well, it is herding cats, and over the last 25 years, this region, and Secretary of Transportation Ray LaHood said this is the most collaborative region in the country without exception. And that was built a little bit with luck, a major downturn of the oil bust in the 1980s. But when you're a small market, and we're about 3 million people, the only way you get anything done here is to talk to everybody, get everybody in the room. The decision making is a little bit longer, as Mayor Murphy can attest, and so can Phil. But I think we've made a lot of the right decisions because we have been such a collaborative region. And the Metro Mayor's Caucus has been pivotal to that. The willingness of RTD to adjust to geographic and geologic and political challenges has been important. And then we were the big money into the campaign to build FasTracks because we knew it was truly transformative as an infrastructure investment.
Mayor, talk a little bit about the redevelopment opportunities in your neck of the woods because of the W line.
You know, we're very fortunate to have 7 stations within the boundaries of the city of Lakewood. And again, we have been working since day one to do the proper land use planning around each of those stations. We put transit mixed-use zoning in place, so when the investment community decides it's time for them to move, they don't have to go through these expensive and time-consuming rezoning processes. And a key thing for us, too, was to protect that single-family character of those residential historic neighborhoods. So between that and some of the infrastructure improvements we were able to make, we are really ready. You know, in just 3 short years, we are going to be connected to the world by rail through DIA and right to our major employment centers. So that's what we've been working towards.
And that's always a difficult and delicate balance, isn't it? Trying to build something new, but protect what makes your community makes it special. And
that's what we work so hard on. And back to that public involvement and having our residents involved to make sure that we got it right. You know, we have beautiful historic neighborhoods in there, and we plan for this density where it's appropriate right near the stations, but we're protecting the character of those neighborhoods at the same time.
And Phil, I think of people who they like to take advantage of great opportunities. They see this great project going on, but they're not always the big corporations and the big companies. Talk to us a little bit about what RTD has done and may continue to do to make sure that small businesses, disadvantaged businesses, have an opportunity to be a part and have had an opportunity to be a part of this expansion.
Sure. It's very important to us to have small business participation. And so we made this a priority several years ago to say we are going to set very, very aggressive small business participation goals. And after we set those goals, we are going to have very, very aggressive compliance to make sure that, 1, the goals are met, and 2, to make sure that the small and women-owned and veteran-owned businesses actually get the work done and supportive services involved in the project. So this has been very, very important to us. Just on the West Line, we injected about $250 million into the local economy, and of the small businesses that were involved in the project, 95% of them were local. And so what we're talking about is really injecting into the local economy large sums of money and growing businesses in the process.
It seems more to me than like a community project. I mean, it's certainly big corporations, but the community has a vested interest in it as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Small businesses have a huge piece of this, and then individual employment. We also put together a workforce initiative program to outreach and target people that live in the community where we are building the infrastructure project. That's very, very important to us, to have people that live in these communities actually build their own communities or be a part of building the infrastructure within their communities.
And this isn't the end of the road, right? I mean, what's up next after this line?
This is definitely not the end of the road. We have a lot of work to do. Just 12 months from now, we're going to open up Denver Union Station. It's about 85% complete right now. Within 36 months, we're going to open up the line to the airport. We're going to open up the I-225 line We're going to open up the GO line to Arvada. We're going to open up the US 36 bus rapid transit dedicated lanes, one in each direction. We also see a way forward for North Metro to get that done. We are doing a mobility study on the Northwest Rail Corridor. So we are optimistic that we will be able to get FasTracks done sooner rather than later.
You're not taking vacation anytime soon, are you?
Not at all.
Not at all. Tom, I'll ask you, close for our last question here. What does the future look like economically? What can we expect?
I think we're going to be a global city, and that was something that we aspired to back in the 1980s when Federico Peña became mayor, and he had the slogan, "Imagine a great city." When you build a great city, what do you need? You need great infrastructure, you need great arts, you need great and interesting places, and you need very smart people. And those are the pieces that we put together, and this is going to be the modern version of Athens in the next 25 years.
Well, we've certainly had the perfect storm so far. Let's see what happens next. We've been talking about the recession and money. RTD has had to get creative in keeping FasTracks moving forward. After experiencing increased construction cost and lower than expected and projected revenue due to the recession, the RTD team is implementing innovation as RTD remains steadfast in its commitment to complete FasTracks. Let's take an inside look at how the FasTracks RTD team keeps FasTracks on track.
The most exciting thing about FasTracks is the investment that we're making in the region. This investment of infrastructure, transportation infrastructure, that will be here for the next 100, 150 years. We're literally talking about building something and investing in a region where 3 or 4 generations will be using this infrastructure. And so this is what excites me about building this particular investment that we call FasTracks.
My family's from here. My parents were both born and raised here. I was born and raised here. So working on something like FasTracks is exciting, and in that it's changing the city. You know, it's changing how we get around, and it's something big. It's something we can look back on later and say, you know, I helped do that.
RTD's leadership has been key to building the whole FasTracks program. From Cal Marsala having his region-wide vision, and now Phil Washington being the man who can really implement it, all the way down to the AGMs and the program managers. These are really the people who are able to make this program go.
You keep a team cohesive and focused by constantly showing them the end game. I mean, the end game is the completion, the opening of corridors, getting people home safely at the end of rush hour. And you keep a team focused by putting the vision, constantly talking about the vision, constantly talking about the objective, the strategic goals, and the tactical ways to get there.
It is something which will change how people look at Denver, how people look at this region, and we are setting up an example for the rest of the nation that what transit can do to the society. It's not just going from point A to point B, but enjoying that leisure that you have an alternate option.
This whole idea of executing innovation is very key. A lot of people talk about innovation. A lot of people give speeches about innovation. I want to execute innovation. I want to implement innovation.
I am proud to say that through RTD's commitment of the transit system and the FasTracks program, but also through the WIN program that is training people to take on skills that will allow them to be marketable for the rest of their lives, is really groundbreaking.
So the idea with our Workforce Initiative Now, or WIN program, was to identify, to assess, to train, and put people to work that live in the communities where we're building these lines.
A lot of skills you can learn through the WIN program. Most jobs won't let you be on the job training, you know, and WIN program allows you to do that. And they really work with you one-on-one, you know. If I didn't like this job, they would try to find me another one. I appreciate the WIN program.
The team is the entire region.
RTD's regional cooperation is really non-parallel across the industry.
The team is the chambers, the small businesses, the general contractors, our elected officials, our governor, our federal partners. The team is everyone.
Lots of other communities have a difficult time coordinating transportation, especially over such a large area. So that cooperation in the region-wide plan and the vision has proven to be very, very attractive nationwide.
I'd like to just share the fact that even as we begin our 9th year of this program, we are still the largest transit expansion in the country, and we're probably the biggest transportation project that's going on anywhere that I can think of. It's pretty tremendous what we're accomplishing.
I predict that at the end of the original schedule, we're going to be up to the 90% range in terms of having completed. People are going to wake up one day and all of this is going to be done, and they're going to say, when did they do this? What happened?
All across the metro area, there are visible signs of our tax dollars at work, with 6 more FasTracks projects set to open over the next 3 years. Stay tuned as our region continues to work together to keep FasTracks moving forward. I'm Tamara Banks. Thanks for joining us.